Hello and welcome to Henry Recommends, the show where I, Disregarding Henry, recommend to you movies that I like, and that you might like too. In this inaugural episode, I'd like to recommend one of my all-time favorite movies, possibly my #1 favorite, Henry Selick's stop-motion animated masterpiece, Coraline, produced by the wizards at Laika Studios, who have also created such brilliant and underrated works as Paranorman and the Box Trolls. Coraline, based on the 2002 novella by Neil Gaiman, is a sinister, imaginative, Alice in Wonderland-esque fable that follows a young girl, the eponymous Coraline, voiced by Dakota Fanning, who finds herself dragged by her parents to dreary Oregon to live in a run-down apartment house with a number of eccentric neighbors. All this so mom and dad can finish work on their gardening catalog, which is ironic because they both hate dirt. While exploring the new home, Coraline discovers a little door hidden in the living room, which, that night, she learns leads to a magical fantasy world, one exactly like her own, only made just the way she wishes it could be, where her parents pay attention to her, the food is delicious, and the neighbors are all accomplished performers. As we find out, this world is not as wonderful as it seems. It's actually a trap created by a creature called the Beldam, voiced by Terry Hatcher, who wishes to ensnare poor Coraline in this world forever, and sew buttons into her eyes. This is a thoroughly creepy movie the whole family can enjoy, and perhaps the greatest of modern fairy tales. It's lovingly handmade, gorgeously animated, and richly detailed. Every time I watch it, I seem to discover something new. Coraline is a superbly designed film, shot in 3D, and one of the few that uses 3D in an interesting and artistic way. I've actually never seen this film in 3D, but as I learned in Henry Selick's audio commentary on the Blu-ray, the sets of the real world and the other world were built in such a way that they would utilize space and depth in completely different ways. The real world is flat, drab, colorless, slightly claustrophobic. The other world is open, colorful, saturated, full of space and dimension. It's difficult to perceive in 2D, but an ingenious piece of visual design nonetheless, and an example of the freedom afforded by animation, where every choice must be made very deliberately. One thing I especially love about this film and its sublime central character is Coraline's stubborn defiance. She's definitely not a bright, cheery Disney princess. She's moody and short-tempered. In the real world, it causes quite a bit of friction with her parents, but in the other world, it proves to be her salvation. Coraline's not going to let some authority figure steal her soul and sew buttons into her eyes just because she's expected to be obedient. No, she's going to fight and resist to the very end. This is interesting because fairy tales typically warn against rebellion. They tell us that our parents know what's best for us. This one, conversely, seems to be saying that kids might just be the ones that know better. But this is also a story about the importance of family and the importance of forgiving them for their human flaws, because families love you for you, not because they want to turn you into a button-eyed doll. Coraline should be available to stream on Netflix, and it's also available in a very nice and inexpensive Blu-ray edition with some terrific extras. I already mentioned Henry Selick's commentary, which I found tremendously informative. I think this is a must-see. That's why Henry recommends Coraline. Sayonara.